Hey there, it's Lauren. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am doing this makeup look. This is like my go-to, super glowy, kind of bronzy, but very, very glowy face look that I wear a lot, and I've worn it in a lot of videos. The eye will sometimes change in the lips, but definitely kind of the skin has been kind of the focus of this, and just yeah. And I'm using a couple of old favorites of mine that were in at least I think 2 favorites videos ago, the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize and the Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal Top Coat as the shimmery eye look. But I kind of have been changing that out a little bit more since I've gotten the Hourglass Scattered Light, and I've been doing this in a little bit more of a cool toned fashion in terms of the eye, but this is the warm glowy version. So if you are interested in watching this get ready with me and this tutorial, then just here we go. So I'm going to start out using the Dr. Jart Tiger Cross, this guy. Just going to do a light layer. So for my foundation, I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder. It's like a light medium foundation, but it is extremely glowy. And I'm just gonna use, what am I gonna use to apply it? I think I will use the Lancome paddle brush to smooth it across, and then I'll go in with a buffing brush. And I know several makeup artists have said this, but it's definitely something I do, and because of them, great advice. But where I will avoid the nose as much as possible and just like spread it across the face for the majority of it, and then I'll just take the last of it, whatever's left on here, and then I'll hit the nose. So I'm gonna go in with the Milk Makeup Flex Concealer. This guy is like on its last legs, but this is like a really good kind of all-around concealer. I find it's good for spots as well as the under eye. And it's definitely a little bit lighter than me, especially like right now. So I'm gonna place it on the breakouts, and then I'm gonna go over with a little bit of the foundation that I used on just like a tiny brush and like mix those in over top. But I'm just gonna use this like straight up under the eyes. So I have like a couple of breakouts and then just like a bunch of stuff that's red and healing, stuff that I messed with. So it's like redder than it would have been if I had left it alone. I'm gonna take it, this on the under eye for brightening. And I'm also gonna take a dot of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. Just a littlest dot to mix in. I'll just use my ring finger to kind of blend that out. Really gotta be like light though with the amount that I use, because this is like really emollient. So I just want like the nice brightness that it gives. My under eyes need that. And now I'm gonna take just this, I don't even know what this is called, but it's just like kind of like a mini buffing brush that I have. And I'm gonna take a little bit of the Light Wonder on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna pick it up with that brush, and I'm gonna go back over top of the concealer with that, so it really kind of blends in more. I'll just like buff that in. So I'm going to take the Dr. Hauschka Translucent Bronzing Tint, and I'm going to take a pump of that on the back of my hand, and I'm going to use this tapered brush and just pick up a little bit of the product. And it's kind of like I'm almost like painting it on in a way. So like it really gets kind of like blended in and looks natural. So I'm gonna do kind of a similar, slightly similar application with my highlighter. I got this mini of the Cover FX Custom Enhancing Drops. It's like a Sephora point perk recently. I remember these were all the rage a few years back. They are so intense, definitely like Tin Man-esque vibes. Very, very glowy, but absolutely gorgeous. I'm actually gonna take about that much, so not like, you know, that's still gonna be really impactful, but I'm gonna cut it with a dollop and mix those in together. And then I'm gonna use the same brush that I used for bronzer and just lightly kind of dap it because it really picked up a lot off the back of my hand. So I'm just gonna kind of like first place and then like blend it in more, but I'm just kind of like hitting all of the high points, but I don't really care that it's like done in a messy way from using this type of brush. I don't necessarily care if my highlight is super precise, especially when I want things to be really glowy. I kind of want the glow to be all over. So in fact, I'm just gonna kind of almost dab this a little bit all over. And you don't necessarily need the like flawless filter to cut anything like that that's this intense. You could even just use like a glowy foundation or a bronzer, like anything that's like liquid and creamy that you like. So on my brows, I used the Heimish brow pencil thing. It's kind of like the Anastasia brow definer in its shape. So I filled those guys in, and I'll put some like brow gel, like maybe Boy Brow or something like that, on towards the end. But I usually like to do that kind of thing at the very end because I get a little like messy and I'll end up getting like powder and other stuff in my brows. But anyways, I am gonna move on to the eyes, and it's gonna be like a really simple eye combo that I have mentioned before. And I'm gonna start out with the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Marie Antoinette. This is like a great little base, and I'm just gonna pick up a little bit with this flat brush. There we go, we're a little bit closer, so now you can see everything that's been going on with my face lately. So I'm just gonna really blend this guy out. Takes a second to dry down, but then it's like pretty much there for the whole day. Just a fluffy brush. I just dropped this on the ground and lost a really sad amount of this product. So I'm dipping into the Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal Top Coat in Nude with my finger, and in the other hand with a Death Grip. And I'm gonna dot that on top. And just smoothing out the edges. Taking the Pixi Endless Silky Eye Pen in the shade, what is the shade? It's the brown shade in Matte Mulberry. And then with the same brush that I used to apply the Charlotte Tilbury cream, I'm just gonna go along and smudge the liner into the shadow. Milk Makeup Kush Mascara. I often accidentally smudge some of my mascara, usually when I'm doing my lower lashes, just you know, some days I'm lucky, most days I'm not. So generally I end up doing, after like I let the mascara dry, I will go in with some sort of brush that I've been using and then do my shading out so that it kind of like mixes that stuff in. So I'm just, again, using that brush I was using for the majority of the look. And I'm just going under here to help mask my mistakes. I'm using the Glossier Wowder to hit the parts where it's a little more glowy than I care for. Just really like pressing in the powder. For lips, I am gonna go in with Marc Jacobs lip liner in Primrose, and then I'm gonna go over top with the Look Beautifood in Tea Rose. And now for the Marc Jacobs Air Blush in Flesh and Fantasy, and I'm actually gonna use a e.l.f. bronzing brush. Just kind of drag what's left on the brush and mix it in. And then if I found that I've potentially over applied any of my blush or anything, I'll just go back over with a brush that I've either used for bronzer or for my base. So I'm just gonna kind of like dab over top of. This is the brush that I use for both highlight and bronzer. Just kind of take it down because I feel like I added a little bit too much. And since it has residue from the last couple of products still on it, I find that it ends up like making a, like more of a marriage in terms of the colors. Like I said, I always seem to get a little bit of something in my brows while I'm doing my makeup, no matter what. So I'm just taking a clean spoolie, grooming them, kind of getting some of the stuff out of them. And now I'm gonna go in with the Glossier Boy Brow, just kind of squeegee off the excess and just hit the top parts to make them fluffy. And here's the full look. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new and want more videos from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.